Hello and welcome to Rank My Maths. My name is Lorraine and I'll be showing you how to work out changing shapes non-verbal reasoning questions. Okay, so as in everything that you learn at school, there are some easy questions and some that are more difficult. So I'm just going to introduce the topic if you don't know it or haven't seen it before. I'm showing you how these kind of questions can be quite easy sometimes, and then they can also get a bit tricky. So look at the first one where the guy is smiling. Let's explain how to do these. So what you are given is an initial transformation. One shape turns into another shape. Your job is to look at your shape you've been given and to figure out which of these has it transformed into. And the transformation needs to be the same as what they did to theirs. So we need to first of all make sure we know exactly what they did. Now looking at this one, the relationship looks quite straightforward. They changed from a shield to a square. So we want to go from a shield to a square as well. So get rid of you and get rid of you because we don't want you to be a shield anymore. And we also want the shape to be the same size, and we don't want the outline to change. Their one went from a solid outline to a solid outline, so our one will go from a dashed outline to a dashed outline, and it will be that one, not that one. Okay, so the next one, bit tricky. Some of them make us think a little bit more. Now, not only has their shape gone from 3 diamonds to 1, so kind of shrinking down, and as I can see all of mine do that, goes from 3 circles to 1. The colours have changed around a little bit, so I'm going to follow one thing at a time. I'm going to look at the top shape. The top diamond was black, and then they changed their shape to have the black diamond on the bottom. So I'm going to do the same. My top shape is diagonal lines, stripes. So I need to go around and look for diagonal stripes at the bottom. A is okay, B is okay, C doesn't suit that, D doesn't suit that, and E doesn't suit that. The next thing I'm going to do now is look at what's happening to the bottom diamond. The bottom diamond went from a grey shape, and then it ended up as the top smaller diamond. So I need to look for this pattern at the top of mine, and that would leave me with B. Okay, so what I want you to do now on this next page is to pause the video. And not right now, sorry. And what I want you to do when the video is paused is I want you to write down in words what changes can you see, okay? So they are changing their shape somehow, and I want you to get into as much detail as you can. What changes can you see? Okay, so there's some very common changes in these questions. You pause the video. Okay, welcome back. I'm going to go through those changes. Now, the first one is a colour swap, okay? And that happens quite a lot in these questions. It happens here as well. There is another colour swap here in this question as well. And did you notice there was a colour swap here as well? Okay, a lot of colour swaps going on. There's a few more in 4, 5, and 6, which I'll talk about in a minute. Now, you may have noticed that questions 1 to 3 were slightly easier than 4, 5, and 6. And I'll explain why in a minute. Okay, so there's a colour swap that happens there. Number 2, we have what we call a reflection. Okay, so we need to spot that quite a lot. They love to use those kind of questions. If I draw a little dotted line there's a mirror line going on there, reflection. And you can even think of it as having a horizontal mirror line as well, or you can think of it as a colour swap. And then here, there's 2 things I can think of this as. I could think of it as a reflection. You could think of it as a horizontal reflection. Or you can start thinking of, you can think of just the word upside down. Not very mathematical. Upside, let me write that properly. Upside down. It's gone upside down. A more mathematical way of saying upside down is for looking at things that have rotated 180 degrees. So I'm going to jump to number 5. And you see that center triangle? You can think of it as upside down if you want, Or you can think of it as the center triangle has been rotated 180 degrees. Okay, I'm going to come back to that number 5 in a minute. Number 4. So, like I said, these ones here on this side are slightly more difficult. And they're slightly more difficult because more things are happening. Like this one here, we have the 2 circles on the top change to be on the side. So we have a switch of position. They've switched position. We need to look out for that quite a lot. And also the side shapes, these ones here have become the center shapes. The triangle has now turned to be on top of the square, and a color swap has happened. Now with that cross, it looks like it's come together to produce a diamond in some way. Okay, and then number 5, we can see here, I talked about the rotation already, or the upside down, but I can also see that the top stays the same and the bottom stays the same. And there is a bit of a rotation going on in the center there with that little diamond or square. Okay. All right, now the next one is this last one here, and there is clearly a rotation going on. And when we talk about rotations, we can talk about rotations happening clockwise. Pay attention to whether it's happening clockwise or whether it's happening anti-clockwise, or if you want to think about it as north, south, east and west, you can think of this shape as, for example, is east, now it's south. You can think of it like that. Okay, so well done if you got all of those connections. We're now going to answer the associated questions to go with them. Okay, so this one, you can pause if you want. Pause now. And unpause because I'm about to read the answer. So I meant pause because I'm about to tell you the answer, but the answer is A. So well done if you spotted that. Nothing else changes, just a clear colour swap. Okay, I'm going to reveal the answer in a minute. So if you don't want to see the answer yet, you want to try it yourself, pause now. Okay, here we go. So this was a reflection. So our current shape is kind of like a backwards capital D facing to our left. So my shape needs to be facing to my right. So A is okay, B is okay, C you're the wrong way, D you're a triangle, and E you are the correct way. And then I need a colour swap. So my shape had a white circle on top. So I want that white circle to be now at the bottom. Okay, oops, sorry. I want the white circle to be at the bottom, and I want the black circle that was on the bottom to be at the top, and B is the only guy who fits it. Next one. Okay, so we have that upside down. So we don't want the triangle on the side, and we don't want the triangle on the top. We want it at the bottom. And we want a colour swap, so we don't want that rectangle white anymore, orange anymore. I just realised I didn't give you a chance to pause that one. Sorry about that. Hope you got it though. Okay, here's your chance to pause. And now I'm going to reveal the answer. So the first thing I notice is that the shape I need to work with has a kind of crazy kind of inside going on. So I'm not going to work with the inside. I'm going to start with looking at what happens to these circles because they become horizontal. So I'm going to look at it on my shape. I've got 2 triangles in that position. So I'm looking for ones that have 2 triangles. So A, you don't, and E, you don't have the triangles on the side. Okay, and then next I'm looking at that other relationship where I had my triangle, this shape here appearing on top of the shape on the right, and then a colour swap. So with my one, I need my circle on top of that shape, that little delta kind of shape, and I need a colour swap. So I need the circle to be black. So this is actually the only one that fits that. Next, again, pause. And here I go. So the top and bottom need to be the same. So I don't want you because, the top and bottom need to be the same. So I don't want B. I'll cross out the letter only. I don't want B because you've only got 1 arrow on the top. I need you to have 2 because I don't want your arrows changing. Okay, the other thing is I don't want your bottom changing. So A, you're okay. So is D, so is E. And then on the inside, I want an upside down or a rotation. So I want my pentagon there to be up the other way up. So A, you are now gone, and E and D are still both in the mix. The difference between them is the direction or the orientation of the hexagon. And if you look at their inside shape, it did rotate. So I want my inside shape to rotate, so I'm looking at E. Okay, guys, that's the end of our 6 questions. Oh no, hey, we've got this one to do. So let's do this. One was a rotation. It's actually a rotation 90 degrees clockwise. So for example, this shape here ended up at the top. So I'm going to do the same to mine. I'm going to look for that. If you turned around, I would want your triangle to kind of be facing that way. And then that line comes out and up. So A, you're gone. B, you're gone. And it leaves me with these guys. All right, let's look at now, let's look for some obvious things. Let's look for this triangle goes, points to the right now. So I'm looking at this shape here. Should be kind of there, doing that kind of thing there. So you were definitely doing the wrong thing. And we're left at D and E. Okay, let's look at the next shape here now. I'll use black. Let's look at this part here, and they're both doing the same thing. So the difference really is what's happening at the bottom here. The bottom, I realise that D has completely changed its shape, so we're left with E. Okay, so finally, coming up to the end now, so you're doing really well. I want you to pause this video, this screen, and try and see if you can do this within 30 seconds. Off you go. Okay, and that's 30 seconds up. The answers are B. What do we use? A red pen. B, C, and A. Okay, so let's try the next one. I'm only going to give you 30 seconds again. You don't have to pause. I will time it out again. And go. Okay, I'm going to reveal the answer. If you need more time, pause it. The answers are D, E, and E. And just message me if you want me to explain any of those last 6 that you did. Well done. Sign up for any of my live lessons where we'll look at different types of non-verbal reasoning questions. Well done. Bye.